We are talking Blood Quantum, written and directed by Jeff Barnaby, and this one stars Michael Greyeyes. Now, this is an interesting setup, and it's essentially a zombie film, although it tries to have a little bit of a twist on the genre. So what we have this zombie outbreak, and we see it taking place in this kind of Native American reserve. I believe in Canada. This is a Canadian movie. So I guess they're Native Canadians, or First Nations, I guess you would say. I don't know. Anyway, so the beginning of the movie is so strong, where we have all these kind of zombie animals sort of coming up. You know, we have this guy fishing, and he's gutting the fish, yet they're sort of coming back to life. And we don't really know why this zombie apocalypse is happening. The difference of this one is that it seems to be that First Nations people, I guess you want to say, seem to be immune to this particular virus. It really only seems to affect Caucasian people and animals. Now, there was I don't know if I missed the line, but I think there was a line to say it just hits Caucasians, because there was a line that's saying that, you know, African Americans or whatever are unaffected, and I didn't really see anyone like that in the cast, so I wasn't really sure. But anyway, and then we have this kind of time jump 6 months later, and essentially from there on it's kind of like a zombie apocalypse movie where we have this community of mainly First Nations people with a few kind of like you know, Caucasian people there as well, who are hiding away because they can be affected, whilst the First Nations people can be killed and eaten, but they won't turn into zombies themselves. And there may be divisions within the group itself for those who kind of want to have, you know, more of a communal, protective stance, and others who kind of just want to look after themselves. What will happen? You have to watch the movie, let's find out. So as I've mentioned, what works, first of all, the beginning of this movie is so strong. It really is. Before we go into our kind of time jump, the setup of this movie is absolutely amazing, I've got to say. And when I was watching it, I was thinking, this is so well done. This is so well done. This is definitely going to be in my top 10 movies of the year, come to the end of the year, because just the visuals of these fish coming back to life. We have a kind of a dead dog coming back to life, and then we had the first kind of humans coming back to life, all done in a very kind of visceral and scary manner. And then I was a little bit disappointed with kind of, well, not long after that, we kind of went into our 6 months time jump, because I would have liked to have seen the lead up to that point. But, you know, it is what it is, and kind of, okay, fair enough. And it kind of goes more into a Walking Dead sort of style movie at that point, because everything's kind of desolate, and, you know, the world's gone to hell in that case. There's few survivors. We do get some kind of more large-scale zombie attacks. There's a great one where we have how they're defending this particular bridge, and it's very gory. This movie has a good amount of gore, with tons of blood spilling out from those people who are either attacked by zombies themselves, or when the zombies actually get killed as well, and they're obviously spilling out all over the place. Fantastic special effects here, and some pretty good kind of set pieces here. And it does have this interesting dynamic where certain kind of, ethnic groups seem to be immune whilst others are not. And it almost, flips the head, and kind of like, at that point, who is the most, sort of dominant ethnic group on the kind of the planet, really, and stuff like that. I actually thought there's more that could have been done with that, because it doesn't really seem to do much with it, to be honest. It is there, but it almost feels like this is the one point of difference in this movie compared to a lot of other zombie films. And yeah, it's there, but it's never really fully explored to the kind of like the political maybe dimension that maybe it could have done. I mean, maybe they wanted to stay away from identity politics and stuff like that. But it seems like an odd thing to bring up, but only kind of do it in a half-assed attempt. However, let's talk about maybe what doesn't work. Once we get to our kind of 6 months in the future time scenario, I feel the movie doesn't know where it's going, unfortunately, because it sort of meanders around. And although there are some good set pieces here, we spend a lot of time talking to characters who we've only just really introduced, and the scenes go on for too long. So we have a number of dialogue scenes here that just drag on for ages. Now, I'm a big one for having character development in movies and characters that you care about, but I feel the way this movie has gone about it is just not particularly good, because we don't want to have massive, long, extended scenes of people who we've only really just met, and this includes our main guy's son, who ends up becoming the main character, and his kind of girlfriend. Because we really don't know this character, we haven't really seen much of them at the beginning, yet we're thrust into a big, long kind of like dialogue scene with him and his girlfriend, and you know, we're meant to care at this point, but we don't, because we haven't been introduced to them before really all that much. And then we just kind of want the scenes to maybe flip between other scenes, but it doesn't. It just kind of stays with these kind of long dialogue scenes. And not just that, but there are other scenes as well. So although this movie does have lots of kind of like action set pieces and kind of lots of zombie attacks, it does have moments where it just, the pacing just grinds to a halt. So the pacing of this movie overall is very uneven. But that's not to say it doesn't pick up in certain places. But it, you know, and it does, but then it kind of just ends up, you know, going back a little bit. As I've mentioned, I feel this is a bit of a missed opportunity that could have been done more with it's the most unique part of the premise. It seems a little bit of a waste of an opportunity here. And the other thing I would say, I've got to be honest with you, I thought the acting was a little bit hit and miss from certain cast members here. Certain cast members I feel do a fine job here. And there are certain characters I think you gravitate to. The kick-ass granddad is, you know, it's awesome and his relatively limited screen time, for example. But there are other characters that just seem not particularly well acted. But I've got to say, the thing that I was least impressed with this movie are the bizarre character turns that we have. Because the way this story is written, characters' motivations for doing stuff, the actions that they take, seem to come out of absolutely nowhere and really do not make any sense. And the fact that there is not just one person, it's multiple people, I simply did not understand where this was coming from. It just doesn't make sense. Again, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it just seemed ridiculous, I have to say. And there are a couple of instances, again, where there are some logic issues. They seem very keen on security, but they're not checking, you know, unless someone's got an obvious bite, for example, a zombie bite, they don't really, it doesn't seem to be like they're checking people when they sort of come in and things like this. And of course we get the person who's been bit and wants to hide, etc. A little bit of a cliche, that one. But again, you know, if you were doing this, you surely, if you had strangers coming, you would give them the full once over before you let them into your camp. Anyway, overall, it ends up being just an okay zombie film with some great moments in it and a fantastic setup. But you know, I was questioning why is it that certain ethnic groups seem to be immune when fish and dogs, you know, don't seem to be immune. It just seems a little bit of a weird thing, to be honest with you. But anyway, overall it stands, I would say, around 6 out of 10 for me. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to you next time. Bye for now.